Hello, this is the TradeState U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview and Domestic Economic Data Roadmap for the week beginning Monday, the 27th of March, 2017, ending Friday, the 31st. Hope you had a good week. Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. This is the daily chart of the ES in broad market form. Slipped a little bit on Friday. So just so we're clear, this week has a couple things coming. First of all, it's the end of the first quarter. So Friday is the last day of the month. It's the last day of the week. They usually print statements. They like to lock everything down by Thursday. So typically you would expect Friday to be pretty slow. Depending on how the rest of this week goes, that's probably what's going to happen. But let's wait and see. Separately, we're getting a gap down in the markets. I'm recording this later in the weekend because I was on vacation. We've got the ES currently showing down 17. The NQ is down 40 after the House failed to pass any form of healthcare bill on Friday. So the conservatives are a little bit disappointed, evidently. And so the market's down now. Who knows where we actually open in the morning, but that's what the current futures are showing as I do this in the evening the night before on Sunday. So that's included in this chart because the chart includes intraday action. So we've got we got a down market in the morning more than likely. Decent gap, like I said, 17 on the ES, 40 on the NQs. But hopefully what that really means is just some good volatility for the week and back to what we saw like on Tuesday where the market tanked and we made some great money. I'd like to continue that trend, obviously. But typically what you'd expect is that by Thursday afternoon, they've got everything placed where they want it for the end of quarter statements. And then Friday would be dead because it's a Friday and it's the end of the quarter. But we'll see. Maybe we'll get something this week. Usually you expect Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to be better trading days. Monday to be slow. Maybe that's not how this week goes just because of the gap in the news over the weekend. So let's take a look at the major indices. Then we'll look at the intraday action from the week. And then we'll move from there. So here's crude oil down 12 cents to 47.85 on on Friday. Not a big deal. Here's gold up $6.60. Here's the S&P cash index. Sorry, that's not the S&P cash index. That's gold. S&P cash index, which lost 2 points on Friday. Pretty boring. Not much there. And by the way, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday were basically dead flat after Tuesday was a sell-off, which was disappointing. But remember, bear flags and bull flags are typically 3 candles, the flags themselves. So if Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is a bear flag, unfortunately, if we gap down, we're not going to get the best opportunity to short under the low of that flag, but it still is probably the most likely day for the move to pick up. NDX was actually up 8 on Friday. You got the stocks up almost 8, 7.5 points. After a gap up, but it did not make new closing highs. Biotechs have been hit since the 13 sell signal, up $16.78. Got the VIX down 16 cents, not a big deal, although it was back over 14 briefly on Friday. The trend closes at 1.19, still a high close. Look at that 10-day moving average on the VIX. I'm sorry, on the trend. 1.37, that's one of the highest 10-day moving averages we've had in over a year. Which is interesting. We got the NASDAQ volume only 1.68 billion shares on Friday. That's pretty light. Advanced decline ratio on the NASDAQ was actually positive 351, where the NASDAQ was up 8, but it was actually only positive 100 when the S&P was down 2. We got Google, that's on the New York side. We got Google down $4.51. That 13 sell signal was perfect on Google. Apple down 28 cents. 13 sell signal has been the high there. Remember, if Apple and Google start to really collapse, that's going to bring the NASDAQ with. Here's Amazon down $1.77, still operating under the 13 sell signal that was the high on the chart back in February. Netflix up 18 cents, not a big deal. Never quite got to a 13 sell signal. Tesla up $8.38. TLT, the 20-year bond ETF, up 43 cents, but still near lows. Goldman Sachs, which we remain short. This is a new closing low for the year on Goldman Sachs. So our short's working very nicely here. Down $3.49. We're short from 244. It's at 228.41. And gaps to fill down near 210 and whatnot. We'll see. I mean, this one to me is what's going to lead the market lower. So we'll see what happens. But so far, we've been dead right on that situation. All right. So what else can we look at? Let's take a look at the intra-week action on the ES. This is 10-minute candles. So Monday, you had a little gap down. You filled it. You were pretty flat. You just kind of drifted a little bit into the afternoon. No big deal. Tuesday's the day we got the gap up. We sold off hard. We went short hard. Everything worked out very, very well for us Tuesday. We were hoping for some follow through Wednesday. Wednesday got basically a flat opening, filled the gap early, the little gap. Started to head lower, and then an hour in, that was the bottom, and basically closed even for the day. Thursday, a flat opening, and actually rallied up a little bit, then stalled out over lunch, then came back, closed about even. Friday, small gap up, started to roll over as word leaked that they weren't going to be able to pass the bill. there was a little pop at the end, probably some short covering for the week to close us even for the day. So like I said, you're basically closing Friday right where you closed Tuesday. Not much there overall. NASDAQ side, not much different. A little more positive at the very end of the week, maybe, but that's about it. Let's look at the economic data due this week. So Monday's the 27th. Nothing coming out Monday. Tuesday, we've got the international trade in goods and wholesale inventories numbers, advanced wholesale inventories. S&P Case-Shiller Home Price Index, consumer confidence 30 minutes into the market. Wednesday, the MBA Mortgage Index, pending home sales, crude oil inventories. You get into Thursday, you've got GDP. This is the third look at GDP from the fourth quarter. Not a big deal. It's still really an Obama number. Initial claims, continuing claims at 8:30 a.m. Natty gas an hour into the market. And then on Friday, personal income and spending. PCE price index, which is the Fed's favorite way to look at inflation. Chicago PMI 15 minutes in, and Michigan sentiment. So there's some key data this week. Nothing on Monday, but again, the focal point is Friday is end of month, end of quarter statement printing. Usually would be flat unless there's some major action this week, as everybody gets if the market starts to do something like tank based on what happened here with the bill. All right, so we will call it as we see it as usual. Charts as usual brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks. Have a great